He is young, tech savvy, and a promising leader, the face of the NDA in the South. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the week interview. Uh, we look forward to a lot of activity we've seen, of course, coming from Andhra Pradesh suddenly. We have with us IT Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Nara Lokesh, and today we're going to talk about your dream, of course, of your state, but also you have a national dream. So to begin with, you've been to Bihar, you've been there campaigning for the NDA. You were also supporting, the Vice President CP Radhakrishnan. While you say Telugu pride, of course, is there, but of course, there is national interest in mind in your projects and your approach. So, my first question to you is: how do you see Andhra Pradesh really today on not just India's map but also on the global map?
First off, thank you very much for having me. I'm really excited. No, if you look at it historically, Telugu Desam Party has always been a regional party, but it has always had the nation's interest at heart. So even when Mr. Naidu and Vajpayee ji worked together, they always had the nation's interest at heart. Policies were created for the nation where Andhra had the first mover advantage. But that was the only approach that we took as a regional party. And we continue with the same stride. So we have been part of many national dispensations, and in every dispensation, we have always contributed back to the nation, and that's what makes Telugu Desam Party different from the other regional parties in India.
Right. And if you go back to your growing up years, of course, you've seen politics, as you mentioned, from childhood. You've also been educated abroad. So you're now stringing together your experience and also, of course, what you've learned growing up and seeing up close and, really upfront, how politics really work and how do you get things done. So how are you combining your early years experience now, today, and can you take us back a little bit to your childhood and what all you learned?
I mean, I've had a very interesting childhood. The, I think after NTRG became CM the first time, my grandfather, I was born exactly a month later. So I've seen the highs of politics, I've seen the lows of politics. And one thing we have learned is that we should take your lows as you take your highs, and you have to take your highs as you take your low. Only then can you become a practical politician. And that's been the lesson that we have learned throughout in our journey. Yes, definitely being born to this family helps. I mean, it definitely opens up doors. But then people decide whether you should sit in that room or not. So in my case, I contested from a constituency called Mangaliri that my party has not won in the last 40 years in 2019. So I had the audacity to think I'll win with ease, but I lost. I lost with 5,300 votes. But that didn't deter me away. So I stuck at it. 5 years I worked hard. And then 5 years later, I contested from the same constituency and I won it with one of the highest ever majorities in Andhra's history. Okay. So, being born into this family definitely helps, definitely opens doors. But then people will decide whether you belong in that room or you don't. So it's been a very interesting journey, exciting journey. And I keep telling that a Stanford MBA was great for India. So in my past life, I was a second generation businessman in the dairy business. I was able to grow the business quite successfully at a very large scale. But then my transition to politics happened exactly now 13 years back. And my Padayatra is my MBA for politics. So I believe that I've learned a lot more about my state, my motherland, because I walked, I understood the pain, the suffering, the challenges the people at the grassroots are facing.
And now you're bringing the first AI hub, of course, to Visakhapatnam. How do you see this growing into, not just bringing a lot of jobs and dividends for the people of Andhra Pradesh, but also in the entire coastal region? And how did this whole idea really come about? Where did you start?
In fact, if you look at it, our entire AI journey started way back in 2018, November, December of 2018, where we were the first state to actually have a policy around it. But then, of course, we lost power. And when we were 5 years, that entire project was shelved. So as soon as the NDA government in Andhra Pradesh came to power, we immediately restarted that because we knew the power of data and we knew the power of AI. So with that as the basis, we believe that Andhra should play a strategically important role on the eastern seaboard as far as attracting investments in the data center ecosystem. And I believe that's just the beginning. So for me, what's exciting is to capture the entire value of that ecosystem. So how do I create jobs? How do I create manufacturing jobs? How do I train my citizens on how to use AI? And how do I take AI to the grassroots? It could be agriculture, it could be doubling household income, or empowering women, or even skill census that we are now doing as a new project. So these are projects that I believe that we can unlock with the power of AI. And that is what is going to make Andhra Pradesh very exciting going forward.
And what is, if you can explain this 99 Paisa project, and is it still ongoing?
No, absolutely. We call it the LIFT policy. This policy is aimed at attracting investments from the Fortune 500 companies. And we believe that Andhra Pradesh, apart from its quality of manpower that we have cutting edge graduates. They're able to work anywhere in the world. So we believe that we should provide them good opportunities back home. And that is the thought process with which we started. No, apart from speed of doing business, which is our key USP, we believe that offering land at a substantive discount will definitely create more economic value. One will attract investments, and through these investments, create substantively more economic value than selling land at the government price. So that is where I proposed in the cabinet that we should give this land first to TCS at 99 paise. And then the cabinet accepted, but also suggested that I bring a policy. We brought in a policy. Then Cognizant, of course, was the first company under that policy.
Was it really 99 paise?
Yeah, 99 paise for the entire 25 acres of land that we have given to Cognizant. So because IT jobs create amazing economic impact in the field level. So one for every IT employee, there are close to 4 to 5 indirect jobs that get created, and the kind of ripple impact that it has on an economy is massive. Look at what Hyderabad is today. Telangana survives because of one city called Hyderabad, nothing else beyond that. That's a kind of economic powerhouse it's become. And it was predominantly driven by the IT revolution. I see that great opportunity now for Andhra Pradesh. And we have an aspiration to be a $2.4 trillion economy. Then IT will play a very important role. And as an IT minister, I feel we should have a tool like this to attract investments. And that is why we are able to bring in investments in a sector that people thought will be difficult. But Andhra is scripting a new journey.
So while we're talking of bringing big enterprises, global companies, how are you also looking at Indian startup industry, for example, in this space? And what are your ideas to involve them in this entire effort?
I think two clear trajectories. One is we have Ratan Tata Innovation Hub, which is our incubator and accelerator. And this is not just about IT or ITES related startups. It's across sectors. It could be food processing. It could be anything else. We want to really incubate ideas of our youngsters and focus on accelerating. That's one vertical. The other vertical is MSMEs, or if I may, SMEs. The idea is at every constituency now, we have 175 constituencies. We have an SME park that's getting built out by the state, and where land is given to the local entrepreneur who was looking at a certain sector that he's interested in. So we are also enabling them to also thrive. So these are the two ecosystems that we are building to promote local entrepreneurship and promote SMEs, because also in done, maximum number of jobs do get created by SMEs globally. And India is not different to that. So it's very, very important strategically for us to do that, and we are doing it.
And when we are also looking at boosting connectivity, as I mentioned, in the coastal region, you're also talking of laying undersea cables. What is this entire effort about? And where do you really see it going 5 to 10 years hence?
See, to have a cable landing station is very, very important, especially on the eastern seaboard. We have Chennai as one, which already has it, but we believe there's a need for a second one. So we have worked with Government of India, and thanks to Ashwini Vaishnavji, we are able to clinch it. We are going to have double the capacity of what's coming to Mumbai right now. So we're going to get 3 cable landing stations. We have already given right-of-way permissions, and that will enable us to attract investments in the AI-driven economy. So not just the data centers, but plus, because speed is going to become more and more critical as we go about in our journey. So that is where I believe Andhra Pradesh will play a strategically important role.
And when we're talking of data centers, we're also talking of the Reliance data center. We see security, energy concerns, of course, over there. How do you plan to make it more green, more sustainable solutions and waste management? Those are concerns. And of course, there are climate concerns when you talk of a coastal state. So how are you addressing that?
No, I mean, unlike the West, India is now investing into new infrastructure at a pace that the world has not seen. Do we need to do more? Absolutely. Like every developing economy, we have to keep investing more and more in our capital assets. And energy is one such asset, right? We in Andhra we have solar, we have wind, we have pump storage projects. All three put together, we can deliver RTC, round the clock green energy, which is very unique to Andhra Pradesh. And we want to create a green corridor where this power will be taken to different parts of the state, where it's not only about green data center, it's about green steel, green automotive, green electronics manufacturing, green ferroalloys.
Right.
That I believe is a competitive advantage for Andhra Pradesh that no other state in India can offer. And that is something that we really want to hone on. And water. Next one would be water. Thanks to our Polavaram project, we are securing our water for the future. And what data centers use in the larger scheme is minuscule of the water that will come from Polavaram. That is the second thing that really help us. And two, even data center technology is going through a lot of change. Recently I was in the US. I went to a company where now it's all air cooled, and they're running water at ambient temperature to absorb all the heat. So it does not require that kind of cooling system. So as technology also matures, energy efficiency will also come through in the AI data centers, and that's what we believe will be the real transformation.
We're also looking at a national data security policy. So a lot of stuff that you are doing is aligned with the center.
Yep.
How do you see working closely with the central government? It requires a lot of center-state coordination. So how smooth are those, or are there any bottlenecks that need to be overcome?
Yeah, Andhra Rashtra mein, we have a double engine bullet train sarkar. So, under the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji and our Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu garu, it's an amazing relationship, and we're working together to create products and solutions that we can then give to the nation. And that is what makes it very exciting. So as a state, we already have a data lake. We have a core data authority who's responsible for housing the data, managing the data, ensuring that there's security and proper access to the said data. And we are also working with the government of India to get data points that will enable us for better governance. We are one of the very first states to deliver 1,000 citizen services on WhatsApp, on a single WhatsApp number. That we're able to do that because we have a pretty good data lake, as we call it. So Andhra that way has a far better data set, and we're always looking at ways and means to enhance it so that we can offer better services to our citizens.
So if I may ask, how much time do you spend on WhatsApp? Because of course this requires a whole lot of coordination, and has it really percolated down to districts where we're really monitoring on ground,
Manamitra WhatsApp governance has percolated down. We have close to about 500,000 users, active users at any given point of time who are asking for different services. It could be exam certificates or even mark lists or so on and so forth. So they keep doing all this. So we come up with new services that we offer to our citizens. Personally, in my Padayatra, I've given my number quite liberally to my Karyakartas to reach out to me if they have any feedback to give to my party. So I spend about close to 2.5 3 hours a day looking at all my messages and replying to all my messages. And if you notice, Andhra stands for speed of doing business. So I have close to 30 WhatsApp groups with different companies where things are at a very advanced stage, where I monitor the project on a weekly basis.
So your father in Chandrababu Naidu was known for, deregulation of the telecom sector, privatization of the airports. How would you see yourself, in years to come? What is your dream, and what do you think you would be known for? Is it ease of doing business? Is it bringing global investors to Andhra Pradesh? Is it something more?
Chief job creator.
Okay.
At the end of the day, we are doing all this to create jobs. And that is the single largest challenge for our economy. We have to create more and more jobs. So, speed of doing business is a tool to get investments which will create jobs. So it's a cycle for me that's important. So a legacy that I'd like to leave behind is, during his time, so many lakh or crore jobs have been created, and that's what makes it even more exciting for me.
And when we talk of, setting up data centers and AI hubs, there are also a lot of, as you mentioned, land involved. There are people who would resist. Is there resistance? Is there land acquisition? All that is, a concern going forward, or are these things, pretty much streamlined? for now?
No, in Andhra Pradesh, we have taken different models. So it's not always land acquisition as a model. We would take land pooling as an option.
Okay.
So depending on the location of the land, the value of the land, we have looked at various permutations and combinations. If you look at a greenfield capital city, Amravati, it's a land pooling. 33,000 acres where farmers came together, gave the land to build a world-class capital city, and they got a certain percentage of developed land back for themselves that they can monetize at a certain point of time. So similar models have emerged. So in Andhra, we've not had major challenges as far as land acquisition is considered. So there is a project, we go to public, we explain that, this is the project, this is the vision, this is the jobs it will create. And people are more than happy to give. So a great example of it is ArcelorMittal. 16 months since my first Zoom call with Aditya Mittal, we're going to lay foundation, which is January. And we finished environmental clearance. We're in the process of completing R&R. So whole 9 years we're completing. There will always be a certain small minority said that will say, this can be better or we can do it differently. But we as a government are focused on convincing people. And that's always worked in the case of Andhra Pradesh. And Mr. Naidu is known for it. It's not the first time that he's doing this. He comes with tremendous amount of experience to guide youngsters like us.
Right. And when you talk of job creation, the IT sector, of course, demands a lot of jobs, and there are opportunities, but there is some kind of a mismatch where youngsters are not really able to get into the IT industry. Is there a measurable target that you're looking at?
So in IT sector alone, I aspire to create 500,000 jobs by 2029. So that is the single target with which I'm working. I'm taking a two-pronged approach. First is I'm working with the industry to revamp my entire curriculum, to bring about innovation in my entire curriculum, because I'm also the education minister. So it's even more exciting. I can bring about that change. Second is using the Naipunyam portal, which we are going to launch soon, where it's not just supply-demand aggregation in terms of jobs, but we are going to do a skill census. So resume building to skill census to even preparing children on how to face interviews, what are the probable interview questions, and rate how they're performing in that interview using conversational AI. We've launched it. It's in the pilot phase. We're doing that. And in the areas of their weakness, where they can hone, they can improve, we're going to use AI as an intervention. So improving their interviewing skills or technical skills. So we're going to assess them, look at skill upgradation using conversational AI. And that these two tools put together, I believe will be a very potent combinations for us as a state.
And when we're talking of the education sector, there is concern about government schools, not just in Andhra Pradesh, possibly across. What kind of upscaling can we really do for confidence, amongst people to send their kids to government schools and upgrade their capacity to be able to, you've been to the US, where you come to a certain level where people do get skills and they are able to, tomorrow take the country forward and be part of the entire process?
Well, that's a very good question. So, if you look at your primary education, right, what's very important is fundamentally in government schools, how are they structured? And when we came into power, only 3% of the schools were one class, one teacher. So imagine primary school where one class, one teacher was 3%. Through a simple reform, we were able to take that number to 35, 36%. I'm not saying 100% of the problems have been solved, but we are in that journey. We believe that that's the first step towards improving quality of education. Two, as public servants, public representatives, twice a year we go back to the school. We use parent-teacher meeting as a mechanism to do it. So it happens twice a year in Andhra on a fixed date of every government school. And the Honorable Chief Minister himself attends. He goes, sits in a class, he understands what's happening. He takes feedback from students, parents on the areas to improve and shows that, government is serious about government schools. Third, if you look at Andhra in terms of FLN outcomes, we are just tad below India's average, which is not good. For me, I want us to be number one. So again, there we're using AI to administer this test for students above 6th grade. And we're checking where are they? Are they at age appropriate learning? And then we're able to grade them and say, okay, these are children who need a hand holding. Because, even I in 10th grade required certain interventions on certain fundamentals because I was weak. That helped me then to sort of leapfrog to go into Carnegie Mellon, then of course to Stanford and so on and so forth. So I want to identify that areas of improvement at an FLN level and give that kind of an intervention early on. So you're using technology extensively to identify, guide and improve. And apart from the sea, if India wants to be a developed nation, which is the Viksit Bharat vision of our Honorable Chief Minister and of our Honorable Prime Minister, it's very important to have moral education. So first time in Andhra, Saturday is a no-back day. There's a class about moral education. We are working with Chaganti Koteshwar, who's a change maker or an influencer in this particular area. We were talking about moral responsibility, respecting women, and these are things also we want to inculcate as part of a curriculum. And we just started that journey. I'm not saying I have the magic wand or I found all the solutions to the government school problems, but I believe that Andhra Pradesh can now set itself apart from the pack and definitely deliver a high quality education in government schools.
You, like you mentioned, you were heavily influenced by your teachers, of course, other than your parents. Can you recount any experiences with your teachers where you really thought that something that you only gleaned from the education system?
No, so we were a very naughty bunch. Our section was a very naughty section, and I used to be disciplined more than everyone else because they wanted to make an example out of me. So, I mean, that discipline helped me, right? And then when I came for my 11th and 12th board exams, I was weak in certain fundamentals. And then I had those bridge courses that really enabled me to leapfrog. And then when I went to Carnegie Mellon, I had a professor, Professor Rajreddy Garu, who was like my mentor because I was new. This was the year 2000. In my generation, I was the first to go to the US. And so the credit system, understanding the importance of homework and so on and so forth. He was my mentor. So it really helped having mentors at different stage of my life, and especially from my teachers. And that discipline, that work ethic, that culture is what I carry to being a minister today.
And when we talk of Andhra Pradesh's aerospace and defense policy, where do you see Andhra Pradesh and what steps have really been taken towards actually becoming a hub for aerospace and defense?
So the way we are approaching each and every sector is that we are looking at a vertical and horizontal integration. Now, what do I mean by verticals, right? Now, I'm looking at, okay, it's nice to talk about one engine manufacturer, but there are 1,000 companies that manufacture components that go into that engine. So we are going very systematically in identifying all those component manufacturers and saying that, boss, we are in Anantapur, where there's already a manufacturing ecosystem thanks to Kia, and we are known for speed of doing business. Come, let's set up all the verticals, and within a 100-kilometer radius. That's vertical. And horizontal is my education. What is the curriculum that you need? What is the skill upgradation you need? What is the testing facilities you need? What is the certification facilities that you need? All in an ecosystem, and we call it a cluster. And I believe this is what is very important for India. Because post the incentives that the states give, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, these incentives will evaporate, right? As in, there is a sunset clause for every incentive. If they have to not only survive but thrive, ecosystems and these kind of strong clusters play a very important role. So I'll give you a number, right? 50% of India's air conditioners are manufactured in Andhra Pradesh. And with LG new plant, Daikin and Blue Star expanding, it will go to 70%. So when I met the association, they said, boss, there's no certification facility. It's a huge problem. Every time I manufacture a new heat pump, I have to send it to Germany, spend $500,000. Why are we doing this? Let's together create a certification facility here. Then they're willing to adopt my ITIs and polytechnics and saying, we'll give curriculum, we'll give equipment, let's train, blue collar jobs. This clusterization is very critical. So we're doing it in aerospace and defense, we're doing it in glass, electronics, renewable energy, automotive, space. So Skyroot is building a new facility there. Marine defense, we're doing it in medical devices manufacturing, pharma, now the data city. So we're working very close with the industry. And close to like 22 odd clusters are getting created like this. And that is what will set Andhra Pradesh apart from other states.
And when we look at the US trade tensions, do you see technology really playing a part in bridging that gap? And you've recently had a very successful tour.
No, I believe that crisis is an opportunity. While we can crib about a crisis, I think we should turn it as an opportunity. And India has always shined well when our backs were up against the wall. We did exceptionally well, right? And this is a great opportunity for India to do it all over again. And so we should look at all our rules, regulations, and bring about cutting-edge reforms that will enable manufacturing, that will enable GCCs to come at a much bigger rate, at a much faster rate. And even the entire data city ecosystem, right? This is a great opportunity for India to really leapfrog. And that's our approach. And it's worked. If you look at it, our growth rates have continued to sustain. And we have to now grow further from here.
And coming back to Andhra Pradesh, how is the Povalaram project progressing?
No, it's on track. I think it'll take us another 2.5 years.
Okay.
But we will deliver this project to the nation. No second thoughts about it.
And with the opposition's criticism coming on agro-produce and the prices going down, what would you say to that?
No, absolutely, there is a challenge. I'm not saying that there is no challenge. But now the question is government being proactive and in resolving those problems, right? Number one, there is a free power that we're giving. There is input subsidy that we're giving. And now there's Annadata Sukhi Bhava, which is basically piggybacking on the Government of India scheme, where Government of India gives X amount of money to the farmer, state gives Y amount. That scheme is also in place. In addition to that, we're giving support price, right? And then now we're focused on attracting more and more food processing companies to come and set up facilities in Andhra Pradesh. It could be palm oil, it could be cacao, it could be banana, it could be mango, right? Across commodities. So we have to do this. So there will always be the highs and there will be lows in commodity pricing. But only when we actually have crops that we can export to the world will we be successful. So we have done that quite well with aqua. We have done that quite well with dairy, mango or dragon fruit. Now, if you look at it, now Andhra is now number one in fruits in the country. I believe we can do even better. Like mushrooms is the next big opportunity for us to tap. Right, Araku coffee is doing exceptionally well. So like that, we're identifying commodities and we'll build on those. But yes, I don't have a magic wand to overnight to streamline the entire supply chain. There'll be the shocks in the supply chain, but government is proactively working with the farmers on resolving those issues.
And when the aquaculture industry really got a setback in the US,
Yep.
You moved to Australia. How has that experience been, and how did you really, steer that market?
No, I think again, crisis is an opportunity. We opened up doors. So we've sent containers to, of course, Australia, Russia, even to Ukraine. So we've sort of diversified our market base. And two, we looked back and told the farmers, we looked at the cost structure of the farmers, right? We said, okay, tariff impact is 34 or 36%, I forget. Because we are competing with Ecuador, and Ecuador, I think, has a 16% tariff, and we are at 50%. So there's a difference, 36 or 34, I forget. Then we broke it down and said, now, how much of this can state can support? So one of the initiatives is to reduce power tariff to the farmer, the aqua farmer. We reduce power tariff because power is an important component. Right. Then we told companies to take a certain amount of, absorb certain amount of cost. So this is the approach that we've taken, and it's really worked for us, and that is why we are able to continue to export our aqua produce to all over the world.
So you've really looked at alternate solutions to a whole lot of problems.
Correct.
That we're seeing.
Alternative markets. We've looked at our entire cost structure and said, how do we make ourselves more efficient? And that approach has paid good dividends.
And in your entire, experience of, if I talk of the challenges, you faced politically, you have seen ups and downs, as you mentioned. What has been your most trying moment and the lowest point, and how did you really deal with it? If we look at, what we saw when Chandrababu Naidu was arrested, and the entire episode, when he stayed for days in jail.
I think that was the lowest point. Politically, see, this family has been in politics now for 3 generations. So Mr. Naidu has always been very clear that the family shouldn't depend on politics for personal income. And that's always been his stand. So in 1992, he started this company called Heritage Foods, which went IPO around 94, 95. And our entire family wealth and income comes from that one company. So he's always maintained that we should deliver a higher ethical framework in public life. And seeing Mr. Naidu being arrested on a wrong case and sent to judicial remand for 53 days did really hurt us. And at one point of time, my wife also questioned whether we should continue in politics, because we have lived with so much of respect and pride. And all of a sudden, for no fault of his, now he's in jail. But then the love that people showed, across the world, in close to about 120, 130 countries, people came out in support of us. In Dallas alone, there were like 8 rallies taken in support of us. In India, within Andhra Pradesh, and all the villages stood by us. And it meant a lot. It meant a lot that, the entire state, the entire Telugu community stands by Mr. Naidu. They don't believe in these allegations. And the last election mandate is quite clear. We won 94% of the seats that we have contested. People do not believe in these false allegations. So yes, that was the lowest moment for the family and lowest moment for me personally. But definitely it's made us stronger. As the saying goes, what doesn't make you weaker makes you only stronger.
Yeah, I read somewhere that you said that you cried during that time,
Yes.
and you mentioned that if your father would have known, he would have felt bad.
No, I
about it.
mean,
What was that moment?
no, I mean seeing him in judicial remand, because the first time I went there in Rajahmundry, we got down from the car, and so I saw two foundation stones. One of it was the modernization of the jail, and this was done during his first term as chief minister. Second one was the building where we were meeting him, was modernized during his third term as chief minister. So it felt very surreal that he is now in judicial remand, in exactly the place where he's done so much of work, even a jail. He got yoga, he got natural farming into that, and it definitely did hurt. And honestly, I felt that at that particular juncture, I felt that yes, India let me down, because we worked so hard. We always had India's interest at heart. As a political party, as a family, we only contributed for our state and for our nation. And when I looked at all that in that particular moment, I genuinely felt that India let us down as a family. And definitely, we all had tears in our eyes, and it was the lowest moment that we ever had. But then people are very kind. They took the same person who was put in judicial remand for 53 days, and then
But you made a lot of effort beyond Andhra Pradesh. You were visiting many, national leaders. You were across.
Of course, I mean, it's important to build.
What kind of support did you really get in those interactions?
No, people stood by us. Majority of the people believed it was a false case foisted against Mr. Naidu, and they did stand by us. And a lot of people publicly stood by us. Some of them morally stood by us. But it meant a lot. It definitely helped me get through those tough days.
When we look at the Constitution Amendment Bill, we're talking of a certain provision which has chief ministers, prime minister, and ministers. 30 days if they stay in jail, they need to resign. Do you think it is prone to political misuse and needs some kind of revision? What are your thoughts on that?
No, definitely safeguards have to be in place. No second thoughts about it. But at the same time, it's very important that where cases have already been filed, whoever it might be, there is a judgment in the Supreme Court that they have to be tried and completed within the year, and it's not happened. And I believe that we have to also strengthen that. Only then, will there be a fear of the law, and that for me is also equally important. So while this requires safeguards, even politicians who have cases against them, they have to be tried on a fast track court, and within a year, we should have judgments coming out. And only then we have a democracy where there is greater accountability.
Just last two questions. You're seen as a close apprentice of the Prime Minister. Of course, you are the son of a very visionary leader. How do you combine the strengths of both, and what would you say is common to the two?
Well, I'm the luckiest Indian because I have two great leaders to call upon as my mentors. The Honorable Prime Minister has been very kind to guide me at times in my life when I needed guidance. And of course, Honorable Chief Minister continues to guide me. I am his student I'm a perpetual student. I'm a student on a daily basis. See, both of them have an amazing discipline of life. They work exceptionally hard, and they have India at heart. And both of them have a single agenda. In Mr. Naidu's case, is to make Andhra proud, and in the process contribute to the nation's building. And the Honorable Prime Minister is very clear that we're going to make India proud. So we have greater alignment. That's why I call it double engine bullet train Sarkar, where both leaders are working together to create history at the state and at the national level.
And you're the prominent face of the ND in the South. We have elections in many states next year. We have Tamil Nadu, Kerala. How do you see Puducherry? The performance of the ND, and what are the key factors really do you think is going to help the alliance move forward?
Now, see, I'm a worker in the NDA ecosystem. I'm here as an ally of Bharatiya Janata Party and as a member of NDA. We see that it is our responsibility to work with the parties of NDA and strengthen them. That has always been our agenda, and nothing beyond that. So going forward, we'll continue to support. So the way I worked in Patna and BR in specific in Patna, I look forward to working. It could be Kerala, it could be Tamil Nadu, it could be West Bengal. Wherever NDA believes that I can be of help, support, or even do grassroots work, I'm ready to do that.
In your neighboring state, CM N.K. Stalin mentions about families becoming larger, the need for adequate parliamentary representation of the South. What would you say to that?
So my view is that the current ratios should be maintained. So even if delimitation happens, as and when it happens, the current ratios should be maintained. It's important to protect the interests of all the states. And end of the day, strong states is strong nation. It's as simple as that. So only when the states grow, the nation grows. So is in democracy.
Right.